What's up, y'all? This your girl CoCaK, and we are back at the Black Business Bureau. All right. So if you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And you already know how we do it. We just gonna go ahead and get into it, right? So it's Money Making Mondays, right? So what I wanted to talk about today was high yield savings accounts and dividend yielding stocks. All right. So if all of that sound like Spanish to you, don't worry, your girl got you. I'm gonna break it down in the most simplest form, layman's terms, right? So with a high yielding savings account, basically what that means is that the money that you put in there, you're going to get a return back on it. So for instance, I'm in Middle Georgia, and one of the good credit bureaus around here is Robbins Financial Credit Union. So their yield is like 1 point something percent, maybe 2, something like that. Moral of the story, like, you don't really see like a high return on your money, but you do get some return on your money like every quarter, right? So if I put $5,000 into my account and I let it sit, every quarter I'm going to get a percentage of that $5,000 back into my savings account. So even though it might be $2 or $3, you got to remember that the point of your savings account is to save, right? So we're not putting the money in there and then we letting it sit for a year and we expect to get rich. Like, no, we're not doing that, okay? We are putting this money in and we're letting it sit. We're letting it build 5, 10, 20 years, okay? Really, 5 years ain't enough. I feel like off of anything yielding, whether it's a dividend yielding stock, whether it's a high yield savings account, you really need to plan on letting your money sit for like 20 years, okay? So I'm 28. By the time I'm 50, I really should be checking into my money, right? So I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's just not possible. What if this happened? What if that happened? And I need to dib and dab into my money. Now, personally, I have more than one savings account, right? I have an emergency fund, and I have like savings accounts that I don't have any debit cards to. Like, I have accounts that I literally will like put money in and then I forget about it until it's time to put more money in, or it's already on reoccurring investments. So like, I don't even see the balance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see, if I do check it, I might see the money growing, but at the end of the day, the whole point is for that money to sit there and grow. You know what I'm saying? So, disclaimer, I am not a CPA. I am not an accountant. I'm just a regular schmegler girl that likes to put her money away, okay? Because if you looked at episode 1 of the Black Business Bureau, I talked about how our spending power is over 1.4 trillion, but our net worth is in the negatives. So what that means is we have the money. Black people make up 1.4 billion dollars in the trillion. Actually, it was 1.4 trillion dollars in the economy, but the assets, the property, the stocks, the stuff that we actually own that we're not in debt for, like cars, houses, the shoes, the jewelry, all that stuff, we pay out so much money, we stay broke. Like, if you're in the negatives in the net worth, that means that you owe money to a lot of people, okay? So we are just here to flip that narrative, right? Shout out to all my people that are working on their money, that really understand that, it's okay to look good, because everybody know I'm going to put that shit on, especially when it's time to go somewhere, okay? Any other time you might see me looking like a bum, but when it's that time, I put it on. It's absolutely nothing wrong with looking good, but you have to understand why you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes down to going on a trip, use money, use clothes that you already got. I know that society has made this stigma of, oh my God, I can't wear this outfit more than once, but you're gonna see me with the outfit on, the shirt on, something on more than once, because I paid for it, and that's why I paid for it, right? All right. So before we venture off a little bit too far, let's get back to these savings accounts, okay? And how we gonna save our money, okay? So one of the resources that I love to look at, that I love to read, is Nerd Wallet. All right. There are a bunch of other articles. There are a bunch of other like financial institutions and resources that you can look for. But these are just some things. This is just an article that I like to look at. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give you some high yielding accounts and what I mean by high yielding, right? So high yielding is typically over 3%. Like I said, a lot of home banks, a lot of banks around here, they don't have high yielding savings accounts. So I know someone that has a Capital One savings account, and I think their yield is like maybe 3.25, 3.75, which is actually considered high. Some of the ones right here, as you can see, Citizens Bank, the online savings account, their annual percentage yield is 4.25%, and their minimum balance is 1 cent. So when you're looking at these savings accounts and when you are comparing them, something that you want to look at, of course, is the actual yielding rate. And like I said, this they typically break it down quarterly, which is every 3 months. And you will get a percentage. So it's not going to be 4% every time. You'll probably get like a certain percentage here, a certain percentage here over the course of those 3 months, right? So the minimum balance that you have to put in is definitely something that you want to look at. For instance, CIT Bank Platinum Savings, you have a 4.75 yielding rate, but the minimum is $5,000. So unless you have $5,000 to go ahead and deposit into that account when you open it, and to keep that $5,000 there, you're not going to get any return if you're even able to open it, because like I said, a lot of these banks have a certain amount that you have to put into, like, straight off the rip. So for regular schmegular people like me and you, we're going to look at the banks where you maybe have like either no minimum balance, like 1 cent minimum balance, or the minimum balance is like maybe $50, $100. I really think that that's doable considering the amount of money that we spend on stuff that just really don't matter, right? So American Express high yield savings account is 3.75%. I know that a lot of people associate American Express like with the credit cards and all this good stuff. And especially with all the banks going to crap, I feel like American Express is a good bank that will stand up, out of all of them. Because they say only like 5 or 6 banks are going to survive. But, we'll see. That's another conversation for another day. So with American Express, your minimum balance is $1. I feel like that is very doable for us. Okay. Synchrony Bank. Let me see if they're on this list. They're not on this list, but they should be. Okay. Synchrony Bank's yield is 4.15%. There is no minimum to open this account. And I say Synchrony Bank because that's something that I know that we have around here. And I know that other places actually have a physical location for Synchrony Bank. Now, you do have to decide, okay, am I going to go with the online banking account or am I going to go with a place that has brick and mortar? So the pros and cons of doing an online banking account, of course, is that you have nowhere to actually physically go, and that's the place where you handle your business. Now, some places do have like sister banks, and so basically that means that that's not the bank that you're walking into, but they're kind of under the same umbrella. So you can go and do business there for another business. For example, when I was living in Savannah, like I said, I've always had Robbins. I've had Robbins since they were Robbins Federal Credit Union, but now they're Robbins Financial. So Savannah, they didn't have any branches for Robbins. So I'll use Georgia's own credit union. So therefore, I could go and I could put money in the bank and I could take money out of the bank because they're sister banks. They're under the same umbrella, right? But a lot of these online savings accounts, they actually don't have sister banks that you can go into, but they do have like a ATM fees that are waived, like when you go to certain ATMs and stuff like that. But what do we need an ATM for? Because we're talking about savings accounts. So we're not going to get a card for it right anyway, because we don't need access to this. We want to put this money up and we really want to forget about it. The only time we want to remember this money is when they talk about a bank crashing and it's time to move our money, or when it's time to add some more money. But besides that, we're not even worried about this bank account, right? Way to go. All right. So personally, I have Lending Club. And to be 1,000,000% honest, I'm thinking about changing it for the simple fact that when I make like transactions from my external bank, like let's say I'm moving my money from Robbins to Lending Club. For one, it takes like 5 days for the money to get there. Then it takes another 5 days for me to have access to my money. And I feel like if I have put a certain amount of money in my bank, or if I have made these transfers X amount of times, I shouldn't have to wait 10 days, almost 2 weeks to get a hold of my money. I think that is absolutely absurd. So really the only reason why I haven't just like been like, oh my God, let me just go ahead and go to another bank is because it's my savings account and I don't use it. I also have a checkings account with them. And like I say, I ain't gonna lie, I do have a card for that account. I haven't even activated it because I used to be really bad with spending money. Like when I first started touching a lot of money, you know, if you know me, I like bags, I like shoes, I like jewelry, you know, I like all that fancy, flashy stuff or whatever. However, you know, just learning the lessons that my parents didn't teach me, or, you know, my grandparents didn't teach me, or nobody around me really taught me, like financial literacy. I had to learn a lot of things on my own, you know, and sometimes in certain situations, just growing up and looking at situations that other people got themselves in because of their bad money habits, it kind of traumatized me. And so, you know, one year I think I did my taxes and I looked at how much money I made and I'm like, where did this money go? Like, you're not finna tell me that I sat here and paid all this money in bills and food and gas and clothes and vacations all year, and my savings account is sitting at like 0 or maybe 500, and ain't no telling how long that 500 lasted in that savings account, because I'll hit that transfer button real quick. So moral of the story is I learned financial literacy on my own. And like I gave the disclaimer at the beginning, you know, I'm not a CPA. I'm not an accountant. This is not This is not like, hey, go do this. These are simply recommendations. These are things that have worked for me. So I am just giving y'all some tea, and I'm just dropping y'all some gems, and just in hopes that it really works for you and that you can start saving some money. So just to go back on the high yield savings accounts. So a high yield savings account is a savings account that is yielding, that gives you a return of over 3% over the course of a year. Like I said, typically this is broken down into quarters. So every 3 months you will see a return on your money. Some people might be like, oh, it's $1, da 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 da. Okay, well, how much do you get with your money sitting in a regular savings accounts? All right, beggars can be choosers. Okay, so as long as you're getting some money on your money is really good. Okay. And 3, like I said, you want to make sure that you look at the minimum balance that you have to open the account. So your opening balance, a minimum opening balance. You don't want to look at one that's like $5,000, even $500, because I feel like that's a stretch for the average person, considering most people are living paycheck to paycheck, and you know, you really got to scramble to save money in the first place. And last but not least, we're not getting any debit cards for this account, okay? And we're gonna put our deposits on reoccurring. It's gonna be automatic. I don't care if it's $25, $50. I don't care if it's $10, because you got to start somewhere. A lot of people, when they think about making money and saving money, they think that they just gonna automatically start at the top, and that's just not realistic, okay? Now, real quick, I want to get into some dividend yielding stocks. So it's basically the same thing, except for it's a stock. But when I say the same thing, I mean like you're getting return on your money. All right. So, like right now, I have QQQ. I think I just invested in QQQ like March 21st. And I've already gotten like $1 back. And I think that I only invested like $50 into QQQ. So if you do the math, that could be pretty beneficial. Now with these dividend yielding stocks, what you really want to pay attention to is you, first of all, with any stock, I don't care if it's a stock, I don't care if it's an ETF, I don't care what it is. Before you invest your money into this stuff, I highly suggest that you do your research. Look at the company, look at the profits the company has been making. Make sure that this company is stable. Make sure this company hasn't been losing money year after year after year, because if you invest your money into this company and they're continuously losing money, you're probably going to lose your money too. So I have been trying to learn this stock game for a minute, and I think I'm finally getting the hang of it. And so one thing that I wish people had told me in the beginning before I just jumped in with both feet is that a lot of times it's not about what the business or the company is doing at that moment. It's what they're projected to do. It's what they're going to do over X amount of time, because you're holding your money. So therefore you're trying to get the benefits of what's going to happen in the future, right? Secondly, you don't want to be like, oh, this stock is going up, this ETF is going up, so I want to go ahead and put my money in there. Do you go buy a car because the price is going up or the price is high? Oh, dang, this car used to be $26,000. Now it's $30,000. Let me go ahead and jump on it. No, you want to buy it while it's on sale, right? So this is called a bearish market. So that means the stocks are going down. And that's when they're on sale, right? Especially if this company is projected to do well. For instance, Tesla. I know we're talking about dividend yielding stocks. Tesla is not a dividend yielding stock. However, Tesla is projected to hit at least like $2,000 over the next few years. I think they said by like 2030, they're suspected to be at like $2,000. So right now, they're at like 160 something, $160 something. So if you put your money into Tesla at $100, like you're going to get your money back like at least tenfold, you know? So that's what I mean by you want to look at what these companies are suspected to do. And you definitely want to pay attention to any of the companies that you invest your money in, because if, you know, bad news bears come about and they let you know, hey, this company is not looking good, they're about to go bankrupt, then you might want to look into some other companies, other stocks, other ETFs, other savings accounts to put your money in. So a dividend yielding stock or ETF is basically a company that's on the stock market, and they give you return on the profits that they make by law, right? And they really have to give most of their profits to their shareholders. So that's a plus. So let's say you put however much, let's say you buy 3 shares of QQQ and their dividend yield is like you get like $1. It's a percentage, but let's say you get $1 for each stock. If you have five stocks, then you're going to get $5 every quarter that they give their profits out to their shareholders. So of course, the more shares that you have in a company, the more money that you have in a company, the more yield that you're going to get. The same thing with a savings account. The more money that's in there, the more money you're going to get back when it's time to give those dividends back to the owners. So with that being said, I want you to check out some of these dividend yielding stocks that are considered to be high yielding. All right. So as you can see on the screen, we have well, I say SAR. Sometimes I pronounce it. Sometimes I just give the ticker code. So the ticker code would be SAR, or the ticker symbol. So that's what you're going to look for. That's what you could type in, or you could type in the actual name of the company, which is Saratoga Investment Corp. The yield is 12.09%. That's a very high yield. I haven't seen any bank accounts do this, but like I said, this is the purpose is to hold it. So don't think that you're gonna put your money into these stocks and then out of nowhere you just gonna get rich, because that's not how it works. I also want you to know that certain stocks that you may be, like, you've heard of them, like Lowe's, like Microsoft, like Chevron, like Walgreens. These are all dividend yielding stocks. So that means that you put your money into these stocks and every quarter they give you money back. Now, I'm not going to necessarily say a rule of thumb, but it would be really nice to put your money in a dividend yielding stock that you actually like. If Sephora was a dividend yielding stock, which is not, I would definitely invest in Sephora because I like makeup. I spend a lot of money there. So why not get some kind of return, some kind of percentage on a company that I'm always spending money at, right? Now, that don't necessarily mean that you have to do that. That's not necessarily a rule of thumb, but I just think that, hey, that's a benefit. I spend a lot of money with you and I get a lot of money back. You can't beat it with a stick. So another dividend yielding stock that is really expected to go up is Target. And the reason why is because Bed Bath & Beyond, even before they actually just went bankrupt, maybe like, well, the news just came out about it like yesterday or today or something like that. Last week, I was seeing that Bed Bath & Beyond was like really in trouble. And they were saying that Target is suspected to really benefit from Bed Bath & Beyond going bankrupt. So a lot of people spend their money at Target. I think that that would be a great investment. Right now, Target is at $164.24. And their dividend yield is 2.55%. Over the course of 52 weeks, their stock was all the way up to $247, right? So personally, considering we had COVID, considering the economy is going to trash right now, I think that if you do your research on these companies and you look at the history of these companies, you can kind of bank on who's sustainable. You can kind of bank on who's stable enough to ride out this recession. I say look at history because history repeats itself. So look at the companies that have really held down the fort through other recessions, like go back 2007, 2008. And look and see what was going on. Like, one problem that I think that a lot of us have is the simple fact that we really have to understand that we are a new generation. So a lot of things that we are facing now, our parents faced before, but we never really had to pay attention to it. So that's why you really have to go back and look at the history and do your research yourself and see, okay, what's the pattern? What happened? Who last? Who pulled through? Who crashed? And out of those that crashed, what did their business look like? Like, what did they do? And why did they crash? And then you can kind of move forward and kind of use those same factors to see who's gonna come out on top. Okay. I just really want to be clear, like, do your research on these companies. Don't just be like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I've done this before. Don't just be like, oh, okay, they say invest in this. Okay, they say invest in that. Because I don't know why, but at night, like, I love to go through and I love to look at like the financial channels and look at, you know, what did Warren Buffett sell? Because if he sold it, I'm about to get rid of it. But also another disclaimer is, like, we're not on their level, okay? Because if you know who Warren Buffett is and you look at how many shares, how much money that he puts into these businesses, we're not there, okay? This man owns 10, 15, 20% of certain businesses. And I promise you, like, owning 5 stocks, that's not going to get you that percentage of ownership of that business. Okay. Now, but you got to start somewhere, right? And I just feel like as long as you're saving your money, you should be doing pretty good. Now, one last thing, I want to just kind of touch on crypto right quick, right? Because if you don't know, the United States is definitely going to go to a digital currency. Even if it's not this year. I mean, they already actually have it. It's already on the platform. It's USDC, United States Digital Currency. And I've seen this even before everybody started talking about it. Matter of fact, I think I made a post like last year about the central banking digital currency. And basically the Federal Reserve is going to be able to keep tabs on when you spending. Don't let you owe any money to the IRS. They're going to have direct access to your money because it's going to be on a digital platform. It's going to be able to be tracked. People be like, oh, well, dollars have codes on it. Okay, but you're not going to tell me that if I go get cash out of the ATM and then I go spend this dollar at Enmark, that they're going to be like, oh, CoCaK just went and spent this dollar at Enmark. No, but with a digital currency, you're definitely going to leave a footprint, and they're definitely going to be able to cut you off and turn you on at their own discretion, right? So, you know, we always have a lot of problems with change, but change is inevitable. So the only thing that we can do is know the system so we can beat the system. Okay. Rule number 1. All right. Besides, get the money first. But anyway, so moral of the story is a lot of countries and a lot of companies are eventually going to transfer over to this digital currency, and money is no longer going to be a factor. So I say invest and use some digital currency. The currencies that I have at this moment are Litecoin, LTC is the ticker symbol, Ethereum, ETH is the ticker symbol, and of course Bitcoin, BTC is the ticker symbol. So Bitcoin really had went down. Matter of fact, let me give you some actual numbers. All right, so Bitcoin, let's say October 19th, 2021, Bitcoin was at $66,000, right? Almost 67 to be honest. Right now, it's at $27,000, $27,367.47, and now it's $27,370 to be exact. All right, but my point is, if you invest your money in this crypto right now, just imagine where you can be when it goes back up. And please believe it's going to go back up. If you look at where the economy is heading, if you look at what they're doing, the only way to go is up. Even if it dips right now, the point is to hold it. You want to buy it while it's on sale, okay? That's the whole purpose. That's how you make your money. Okay, I got in at $27,000. Let's say I got $27,000 laying somewhere, and I have enough money to go buy one Bitcoin, and this Bitcoin goes up to let's say $70,000. The difference, you take 70 and you subtract 27. That's what, 43? Right? You just made $43,000 off of that one Bitcoin, okay? Because you got in there when it was 27. The worth of this phone was $50 when I bought it. But now they say that it's $100. So if I go sell this phone for $100 and I only bought it for $50, I made $50 profit. That's basically what happens. So I encourage people to definitely do their research. There are a lot of platforms, a lot of people that really follow and track this stuff and really do like an in-depth, thorough investigation of these companies and where they're going and why they think they're going these places. So I encourage you to get you some crypto. Okay, so just a real quick recap. What are we going to do to save us some money over the next 20 years? Okay, we are going to get a high yield savings account. We are going to invest in some sustainable, stable stocks, dividend yielding stocks that have shown that they have been making more and more revenue every year. Okay. And then we are going to invest in some crypto, because sooner than later, that's what we're going to be paying for stuff with. If it's not if it's not the United States digital currency, excuse me, it might be Bitcoin, it might be Ethereum, it might be LTC. Okay. We already know that when Bitcoin had first came out, well, really, when they had first started popping, a lot of places were saying that they take Bitcoin. And if I'm not mistaken, was it Tesla? It was it might have, don't hold me to that. But there are some car companies that I know that take crypto. Okay. I think there was like a rumor saying that Nissan was going to take Dogecoin or something like that. So that just shows you that that is the direction that the economy is heading in. We're no longer going to use, we probably still have debit cards, but 9 times out of 10, a lot of our stuff is going to be like on our phone, tap to pay, but it's not going to be, okay, let me go to the bank and get $500 out. No, you're going to have to send everything. They're going to keep track of who you sent money to, how much they sent it to. So, everybody that's getting that good money on their tax returns, you better get it while it's getting good, because they about to cut all that shit out. But I really hope that this video helps y'all, and I will see y'all back next Monday for Money Making Mondays. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, because we do have Financial Fridays where we might drop a reel, we might drop a post, we might drop something, some kind of gem to help y'all get y'all money together for what's coming, because this is our time to shine. Okay, this generation, it's our time to shine. This is the time where we get rich. The economy is crashing. Stocks are crashing. Banks are crashing. Crypto is low. Get it while it's getting good. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Black Business Bureau. And you already know your girl CoCaK is out.